Recently, I made the mistake of looking at my YouTube analytics, and I noticed a feature that I hadn't seen before. Videos to inspire me. Apparently, YouTube has this handy little helper buddy guy feature where it gives you a list of other people's videos that are meant to inspire you to make content. Who knew? Probably lots of people, but not me. It doesn't matter. Let me show you what mine looks like. Okay, so we've got why men are walking away from modern women. Why 90% of modern women hate Sigma males. Here's why. Men refuse to attend singles events. It was 90% women, and women are furious. Watch women lose their minds when they are treated like men. No, you're not queer, just creepy. The trans cult gets worse. And last but not least, when reality finally hits for older women, men have left. YouTube? My dude. What the merciful... Hello, Swolemates. Welcome back, and dog bless you. A few days ago, I posted this video talking about profiteering on culture wars, and I used a few obvious examples, but I forgot a big one, so let's fix that. It is no secret that YouTube's algorithm favors drama content, and it is a crudely buried secret at best that YouTube's algorithm also feeds people into the alt-right pipeline. And no, I am not just talking out my ass here. 5 years ago, a study on YouTube's algorithm found a very clear pattern of intellectual dark web and lighter conservative content leading viewers down the alt-right pipeline. I've linked it in the description. You should go check it out. And here's the thing. I, among others, have talked about the dangers of just blaming the YouTube algorithm because it responds to our choices, and that fact shouldn't be erased from this discussion. At the same time, this is clearly not responding to my choices and behavior. It's also true that humans are navigating completely new territory with this shit. Social media and instant information, or disinformation, isn't even a blip on the human timeline. It's been around for so little of it. We don't necessarily know how much of it is us and how much of it is the algorithm feeding us, and we don't really know what the solution is either. But I do know that two things are going to be part of that solution: acknowledging the problem exists and making a conscious decision to resist it. I don't do reactionary content. I've done it before, way back when, which is why I know that I don't like the way it makes me feel. I don't like highlighting hatred, and I made the decision a long time ago to not be a pawn in a culture war. The fact that this is what YouTube feeds me for inspiration makes me absolutely furious. But that's the point, isn't it? The point is for me to get angry, ideally while looking at these obviously inflammatory videos, so that I will hopefully be sucked into responding to them, just ping-ponging outrage back and forth while YouTube makes sweet, sweet bank on the engagement. And I wanted to touch on this as an example of something that comes up a lot in the political spaces that I'm part of. Compassion for people, anger for systems. Often when I try to explain this to people who are new or resistant to leftist thought, they look at me like I'm speaking in tongues, which is entirely valid. Like, how does one hold a system accountable? What does that even look like? When I first encountered this idea, I struggled to articulate and understand that myself. In the previous video, I talked about holding people accountable, specifically people who are consciously gaming the system to secure excess wealth and power. Hopefully it encouraged some of you to look at your favorite talking heads more critically. When it comes to fighting the system itself, things get a little more tricky. Obviously disengaging from the people who are trying to manipulate you is a big part of it, but the bigger change happens internally. You have to choose to be on the lookout for the problem, which means you need to ask what the algorithm is telling you about your own patterns and choices. I'll show you what I mean. So here I've gone to my YouTube home and taken a screenshot of my recommended videos, just randomly refresh the page, and this is what we got. Looking at this list of recommendations, I know exactly why they're all here. I recently saw Nosferatu, and I had looked up the trailer and some interviews with the cast. I watched Jay Aubrey's deep dive on RFK Jr. I'm a leftist on the internet, so obviously I watch a lot of FD Signifier and Hassan. I've been enjoying a lot of Indigenous educational content lately. The Basement Yard is one of my go-tos for good times and healthy masculinity content, and I'm a politically conscious Canadian, so obviously I watch a lot of Steve Boots. Personally, I think everyone should. He's great. The point is, though, there's nothing that pops up in my recommendations that I can't contextualize based on my watch patterns. I'm very much aware of my biases. I'm a white, queer, social work student who cares deeply about justice and equity. This is reflected in my feed. That, and YouTube either calling me stinky or picking up on my interest in skincare, still not really sure about the ad choice. And I'm not using this to flex how self-aware I am. I'm not about to pretend that I haven't been pulled into watching drama content, or that my fixation on politics isn't a problem that often causes me stress. One of my New Year's resolutions is to recognize when I'm feeling overwhelmed by political content and to step back and take a break. What I'm trying to encourage here is that you ask what recommended content, your home feed, your social media algorithms say about you. How do they fit with the things that you believe about yourself? How does the content that you see make you feel? If there's a lot of rage bait in your recommendations, is that for you or is it for someone else? YouTube has given up on rage baiting me as a viewer, but as an openly queer and politically minded creator who makes a lot of masculinity content, it's apparently still shooting its shot. Conflict is where all the engagement and money is. It is the same tactic that we see in culture wars and literal wars. Step 1, manufacture opposition. Step 2, make the underlings think it's their fight. Step 3, profit. Part of why I find it so hard to stay on top of YouTube even when I am not a full-time student who is also working is because it is a trash fire that capitalizes on conflict. Seriously, this place sucks. Its incentives and my goals do not mesh well. It's a very demoralizing experience a lot of the time. The analytics are constantly pushing me to play a ridiculous game of outrage that completely goes against my values. And they do this by promising greater success and therefore money if I just play along. I think it's important that I stay angry at the system. When I start getting frustrated with people, I know it's time to take a step back and breathe for a little bit, to remember why I'm here. This isn't to erase people's responsibility in feeding into this kind of thing, but the solution isn't to meet them in that fight. The solution is to try and encourage them to be aware of what they are participating in. Grifters are the ones who know exactly what they're participating in and go ahead anyway. But I think most people simply aren't aware of what is being done. I am here because I want to help bring people together as much as I can. I'm here because I want to share the education that I have been lucky enough to receive. I'm here because I think that sharing ideas and centering each other's humanity is the path to a better future for all of us. And it's not lost on me that I am attempting this from a platform that specifically tries to sow division because it's profitable. Why are you here? What are you getting out of this? And when you see content that makes you angry, do you immediately attribute that anger to the subjects featured? Or do you factor your own decisions and the platform itself into your understanding of what's setting you off? I have personally found that tackling systems instead of fighting people who are on my level begins with recognizing my autonomy and who really deserves my anger. This shit is just trying to bait me as a trans guy who makes outreach content for men. Am I disappointed that these people are playing into such an obvious grift and ignoring the harm they're causing? Of course. But what really pisses me off is that YouTube is designed to anticipate us being gullible and easily manipulated. You know, fucking bread and circuses and all that. But hey, credit where credit is due. It did inspire me to make a video. Thanks for watching it.